Does the brake light warning system come on your Supra? And even though you get out and check, all of your light bulbs seem to be working, the light still comes on. Probably one of the most written about failures on Mark 3 and Mark 4 Supras is the failure mode of this brake light warning system. I'm going to give you the 100% guaranteed solution to this problem today. Because after 15 years of having this intermittent problem and fiddling with all my light bulbs, I was literally stumbling over the actual problem. And the last 9 years, the only time this bulb has gone off for me is when I actually had a bulb failure. Okay? Because what this system is intended to do is tell you when one of your filaments is burnt up in your brake lights, which will create an open circuit in the brake light system. Okay? You then have this device right here. It's called the lamp warning. Let me see if I got it named the right way. See, right here we go. Lamp failure. Okay. Do not spend $200 buying a new one of these. There's literally hundreds of websites dedicated to how to modify this to bypass this. This device is not the problem. Okay? The solution is actually going to be so simple that all of you are going to be kicking yourselves for not seeing this before and realizing what it is. Alright? I'm going to show you that solution today. A lot of us have also a problem with moisture getting in the rear of our hatch, which leads us to have these problems. Okay? I'm also going to show you the permanent solution for that I did at least 15 years ago. A glass man told me what was wrong. I did what he told me. I've never had another drop of water in my hatch. Okay? So, let's take a look at this tail lights. I'm going to need you to remove, if you ever change your light bulbs in your car, you know how to get to the tail lights. For those of you who are not real sure, I'm going to need you to remove this entire section here. Okay? To get this out, we need to push this in, pull the harness loose. We'll undo on the driver's side, and we'll undo the cover for where your jack goes. You have to reach in here and disconnect the wire for your side marker light. And it's just a simple 90-degree twist to the left, and it will release. Go in there, pull that wire all the way through, push this tab in, and pull this entire piece out. We got to do some work to this. This is where the problem is, in here. Okay? Same thing on your passenger side. You know, your access is actually through this small door through here. Same thing. Reach your hand through. There's your wire. Turn it 90 degrees to the left. Pull the wire up. Pull your harness off here to remove this entire piece for me, okay? I have a couple of these out. These are ones I pulled out of junkyards years ago. Okay. And what we have here, when you pull your harness loose, you'll notice there's 6 wires going into this assembly. Okay. We have 12 volts that's going to feed our reverse light. We're going to have 12 volts that's going to feed both of these lights. It comes on whenever we turn our lights on. We have another 12 volts that comes in and feeds both of these light bulbs, the second filament in both these light bulbs for when we press our brakes. We have another 12 volts that comes in that feeds our turn signal. And we finally have another 12 volts that feeds our marker light. Okay, that's 5 out of the 6. The 6th one is ground. Okay, the ground wire comes into this terminal right here and first feeds all the way over to your turn signal light. Okay, down inside that socket, there's no connection that you can see down in there from that ground wire. The ground wires are all the white with the black. That ground wire comes back, feeds over, has a terminal where it screws onto the body of one of your brake lights for your ground, jumpers over to to the other brake light, put another screw where it grounds out that body, jumpers over into your which is that one? That's the reverse, excuse me, that's your parking light. And then finally that ground wire jumpers out and into your side marker, okay? This is where our problems are, people, in our ground. Not in anything else, it's in our ground. And most likely on your two brake lights. And the easy way you're gonna know is when you look down at this and you actually grab one of your bulbs and you take one of your sockets and you can do this. Look what's happening. Okay, it's not just that it's loose and wiggly, it's actually moving underneath the screw. If you look closely, you can actually see the ground wire. You can actually move it a little bit as well, okay? This is where our connection problem's happening. Not having a good connection here is equivalent of having an open circuit. This is why the little box is saying, hey, you got a problem, and turning on your warning light, okay? What you're gonna see on almost all of these things is you'll see the stanchion that holds the other side that does not have the screw. It's going to be nice and in great condition. On the side that holds the ground wire, you're going to notice at the top, if I can get a good view, focus of all of these things, is literally going to be mushroomed out from the heat that has melted this plastic stanchion over time from this not being a very good connection, okay? 1 watt is defined as 1 joule per second. Okay, joule is a measurement of heat. All the electricity we're losing in this connection is given off as heat. It's heating up this plastic stanchion. Over time, that heat gets worse. This plastic is basically melting and shrinking, which makes this get even looser. Okay, the fix of this problem for a lot of people may be as simple is tightening the screw, okay? Now you have to be very careful because the heat treatment this stanchion has taken for all these years, that plastic has become brittle. So on my car, you know, now I can no longer move that back and forth anymore, okay? Since I tightened the screw up. I did not loosen that screw on purpose. This was a spare unit I pulled out of a junkyard. I have 2 of them, and I just went and checked them all, and I found one that was just loose. That's how it was. And this is what our problems are, is from this screw and not tightening against that ground wire. On one of mine was just had been heat treated so bad that the screw was stripped, and this was not even tightening at all anymore. Now you can't just go and take a larger diameter screw and thread down in there because it's probably just going to break this wide open and crack it. Okay, this is what's going to happen. It's a little tiny screw. I'm going to show you one. This is all this is. Okay, if you try to put a bigger diameter screw, it's just going to break that stanchion. And so your option is a longer screw, but the hole depth is only about maybe 1/8 of an inch longer that's in it right now. So once again, you put a longer screw in, it's going to be driving into hard plastic. It's going to break it and crack it. Okay, so what you're going to have to do before you put a longer screw of basically the same size diameter, you have to very carefully go in with a very tiny drill bit and drill down into that stanchion a little bit so you can place a longer screw. Okay. Hopefully yours isn't as damaged as mine was to have to go through that. In some places you might even have to take that whole stanchion and epoxy it, remove all of this stuff, epoxy that, fill it with epoxy, and re-drill a hole so you can put your screw back into. Okay. And one other suggestion I have is when you actually get done, because what I want you to do is to clean up all these connections. You take the screws out, take this wire and clean it real good with some sandpaper, okay? I had a piece of sandpaper that probably blew away. use some good like 40 grit sandpaper, 400 grit sandpaper, and take it, fold it over, and place it between these terminals, clean them off real good, and also clean off the contact points of this really well. Okay, so when you put it back together, you have a good contact, and we gotta have a tight screw. Like I said, the heat reduces it, the length of that stanchion, as it melts it over time from a loose connection. So it might not be a bad idea. You can actually put a tiny drop of thread lock, some kind, a tiny drop down in the hole when you put your screw in, to make sure this holds tight permanently and doesn't back loose and come off. Okay, this is where the problem is, guys. I'm telling you, clean all 1, 2, 3. That's all you got. 3 ground connections to clean, right? And you're gonna eliminate this problem, right? There's no reason to bypass that sensor unit. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. The problem is here. Okay. After all the maintenance, I tried cleaning up these sockets and sanding them down and putting all new bulbs in and dielectric grease. And I mean, there's wonderful write-ups, and this is good stuff for everybody should be doing. Anyway, the ground wire is your problem. I promise you, this is gonna go away. Now, the other issue we have was getting water in the back of these Toyotas. I literally had to buy a replacement. I didn't buy it, I got it from a junkyard. I did buy it, but I got it from a junkyard, a replacement spare tire, because so much water had gotten into this car over the years, it rusted the entire rim on the bottom where it sat. Okay? I had a new windshield put in one day, and I asked the glass guy, what does it take to reseal this hatch? Because after probably 10 years of ownership, that was the only solution I had left. Had to be coming from here. He looked at me, and in 2 seconds he said, it's coming from your taillights. I said, really? He said, yep. This is a very experienced glass man who within 2 seconds told me, this is your problem. So obviously he'd been there before. He knew what the problem was. Now, I pulled my taillights out before. This is very cumbersome. There's 6 studs. They're about that long that hold this thing in place with 10mm nuts on them. Okay, that you have to take out and pull off. And when you take it off, you'll see the original gasket. Basically, it's just a wimpy, insufficient gasket to seal the amount of water that's coming down through your car. Okay. What you can't see with the tail light in place, what you can see when you get it off, there's actually a seam here as well, somewhere around here, where this rear panel overlaps the fender and they're spot welded together. So that gasket is just not sealing properly. My solution was I found, this has got to be 15 years ago, guys, that I did this, so I don't have the actual box, the weather stripping that I used. Essentially used a door weather stripping. It's about 1 inch wide, and it's kind of flexible and foamy and thick enough, and it has like a adhesive strip that when you peel off the back, you can stick it down. I used that, and I started at the bottom of my tail light with this thing, came around, stretched that around, placing it, pushing it over each one of my studs that are coming out, and forming it around the corner, all the way around, each time going through each stud and coming back with my seam in the bottom. Okay, put that on the car, and now I had a single drop of water inside my hatch anymore. That man knew what he was talking about. Water coming from your tail lights. Okay, there's only one other place you might see water coming from, which will be your rear window wiper motor. Okay, you can see right here, water came down for years and years and actually rusted out where one of those little clips that holds this plastic panel on. Okay, this is coming from this nut right here. It's not tight, okay? All you gotta do is tighten that nut. I say that's all you gotta do. The only way to tighten that nut is to take the wiper arm off, because you see it's a real tiny, thin little nut you're trying to tighten. Well, guess what? I'm not sure about later cars, but on a 86 and a half, to get that wiper arm off, you gotta take the whole damn rear wing off. So it's a real pain in the neck. I mean, an absolute pain in the neck. You know, you might be able to get up from inside this direction somehow and get the right size wrench on this to get it tightened. Please, if you can, it all do that. Because taking this rear wing off is no fun. But putting good gaskets on your tail lamps, don't use the factory gaskets. They're just garbage. Find some good weather stripping material, make your own. You're gonna have any water whatsoever down in your trunk. I repainted this car myself like 15 years ago, and I re-primered it and just shot base coat over the floor because it was definitely rusted and nasty. And it looks fantastic right now today. Okay? Hope these things help you out, guys. I promise you. The ground wires on here are your problem. And the water coming in your hatch is coming through your tail lights, and maybe a small amount of your wiper motor. Okay? Appreciate you watching, guys. See ya.